Hello and welcome. In this short video, I'm going to be explaining how an mRNA vaccine works, such as the vaccines that are used to vaccinate against COVID. First, before we begin, we need to introduce ourselves to the cell. The cell is surrounded by a plasma membrane. Within the cell, you will find organelles that perform functions, like make energy or store and break down molecules. Also, cells contain structures called ribosomes. These ribosomes help make proteins. Ribosomes are important, and we'll visit them later. In order to understand how an mRNA vaccine works, we need to talk about what is RNA. One of the easiest ways to understand RNA is to compare it with DNA. DNA stands for deoxyribose nucleic acid, and RNA stands for ribose nucleic acid. They have different sugar molecules, and both RNA and DNA are made of subunits called nucleotides. Another key difference is that DNA is double-stranded, as you can see here on the left, and RNA is single-stranded, as you can see here on the right. DNA also contains the nucleotide thymine, while RNA contains the nucleotide uracil. Another difference in these two molecules is their different functions. DNA is used to encode and produce RNA, and there are several different types of RNA. The RNA that I'll go over is mRNA, with the M standing for messenger. DNA contains the genetic code to produce proteins. mRNA is produced from DNA and carries the genetic instructions to make these proteins in the cell. In short, the mRNA contains the message from DNA to produce these proteins. RNA does not affect the cell because it is produced by DNA. So as a quick review, mRNA's function is to take the instructions from DNA to make proteins. After it's done this, the mRNA is no longer needed and broken down by enzymes called RNases. The mRNA does not interact with DNA as it is no longer needed. So what does the mRNA in a vaccine do to your cell? Just like your own mRNA, the mRNA found in a vaccine will instruct your cells to make proteins. They do this by using your cell's ribosomes that I mentioned earlier in the video. As is the case with the COVID RNA vaccine, these proteins are then incorporated into your cell membrane. After its job is done, the messenger RNA is then broken down by your cell's enzymes. As we mentioned, the mRNA's vaccine effect on your cell is to make a part of the virus's proteins. These proteins can take the form of many shapes. For instance, the ones illustrated here looks almost like a party hat. The important thing is that the mRNA is specific for that virus. Your body's immune system will then respond by making antibodies to these foreign proteins. In this example, your body's antibodies will then attack the cells with viral protein party hat, thus eliminating them and ending the virus's party early. The advantage of the mRNA vaccine is if you become exposed to a virus that is bringing in an unwanted, unscheduled party to your body, your infected cells will make that viral protein, and your body's immune system responds by making the appropriate anti-party antibodies. These antibodies are designed to seek out foreign protein, and if your cell becomes infected, the antibodies will target these problematic cells, thus shutting down the infection. Once targeted, these infected cells will then be removed. This is all possible to the mRNA that is received before being exposed to the actual virus. So thank you, mRNA vaccines. That is how an mRNA vaccine works. All information in this video came from the CDC website found on the slide. All badly drawn illustrations were done by yours truly. In conclusion, be wary of any viruses that's wearing a party hat, because I can assure you the infection is anything but fun. Thank you for listening and have a good rest of your day.